Hello everybody, Voodoo here, and pretty exciting, cool video today that I know people have probably been waiting for. Today we are going to take a look at Sims. So recently TXT and the people in the Havoc Demon Hunter Discord have put together an APL for all the new changes and stuff. We actually can go in and sim stuff. So I spent a lot of the day actually simming a bunch of different talent combinations. So we'll have mostly single target sims today, like one AOE sim. AOE sims are still a bit weird, but we do know the best build there. But we will have a few different sims here. I'll link them in the description as well, just so you guys can take a look. We have BiS gear sims so far, sort of early stuff. Again, everything's early, everything can and probably will end up changing, but we have some sims to go over right now, and they're so far looking pretty good, honestly. So we'll hop into the raid bot stuff. We'll talk about sims. Before we do that though, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and drop a comment as well down below. Help spread the video. We are pushing to grow as much as we can before the end of the year, and I just want to appreciate and thank everybody who has helped so far. If you want to support the channel, become a channel member below. You get cool perks. Also follow me on Twitch, join my Discord, and follow me on Twitter. So with that, let's get into some sims. All right, so here we are with the sims. Now this is made on the beta version of Raidbot, so this is with the latest APL we have, the latest, everything we have. So this is the most up to date, and I have a few sims today. This is from the changes as of, I'm recording this October 8th. So as of like the first week of October changes. Probably might see some nerfs come through. So these might change up a bit, but for the most part, these builds will probably stay the same, I imagine. But this right here is me with my current gear. Now this is a little outdated, my gear. I do have a 450 belt now. I have a bomb. I have different weapons. I've changed my gems around, but that shouldn't change too much. And this is currently the best build before you get the new tier set. So those of you not in the loop, the tier set we're about to get is going to be very, very powerful and push us towards Accelerated Blade, which is this throw glaive. Deals 60% increased damage, reduced by 30% for each previous enemy hit. It'll push us towards Furious Throws, which basically makes Throw Glaive cost 25 Fury, but then also throws a second glaive. Then push us towards Soul Scar, which is the old Soul Rend, where basically you just double your glaive damage as a Chaos Dot over 6 seconds. So pretty strong stuff there. But in general, without the tier set, you don't want to play that thing. So this is kind of your build for early on, like Mythic Prog, before you get your tier set. It's not really an AoE build. You can play it in AoE. Actually, I guess it would be pretty good in AoE. Probably just drop Isolated Prey for Chaotic Transformation and do pretty good AoE damage that way. And you probably would honestly just pick up the glaive stuff anyways. But this is basically the build as of right now that you'll be playing before you get your tier set. After your tier set, so let me just get out of this. So let me find the right one here. I believe, yes. So this is the post tier set BiS gear build. So this is the gear we will be using at max BiS gear. For now, it might change. You'll notice it's double time weapons. double importance moment. But pretty much the reason for that is that the weapon from Raid isn't really implemented on Simulation Craft yet. So I wouldn't really worry about that one too much. You're not really going to, you'll probably end up using the weapon. It's very, very strong. But this is like the gear we're using. Few things. The necklace is really good. Some of our rings really good. These are the trinkets that have been simming good right now. Augury at 496 is kind of crazy. Cataclysmic Sigma brand does really good damage as well. This is Augury, people who don't know. I'll just linger here a little bit for y'all. And then there's also this one, which my camera cuts out a little bit, but should be mostly fine. But we're still using Toxic Thorn with Lifebound bindings, but Sport Cloak is also not very far behind at all. So if you do end up wanting to drop life bindings or Sport Cloak and just run Toxic Thorn and Sport Cloak for a little extra defensiveness, you can end up doing that for sure. Again, things might change. But this is our best build, so it's pretty similar to before. So if I go over here, a lot of points are the same here, but we've kind of pushed more towards the glaive stuff, dropping some of the critical chaos things, moving Ragefire over into Soul Scar. Now, one point here, Isolated Prey, which is the against a single target, I-Beam does 30% more damage, and Immo Aura always critically strikes. There's a few fights in the raid where I wouldn't actually play this. You really only play this on like pure single target. If there's adds at all in the fight, or if there's like damage amp portions where there's actually a few of those in the raid, then I would not take this. I would take Chaotic Transformation as well. On pure single target, Chaotic Transformation is only 300 DPS behind, so don't really worry about that one too much. So swap this out. Pure ST, you can play this. So stuff like Igara or like Volcaros, you can play this. But stuff with like adds or things with damage amps, Sulfuron, first boss that has adds, There's a lot of boss fights with ads on to this tier. You'd probably end up playing Chaotic Transformation. Again, not a big difference there. So one thing to note with this sim as well, so I did a few other sims. This is kind of a cycle build. Cycle is pretty far behind the other one, roughly 6,000. But this is with bugs being fixed. There's 2 bugs right now. This is without bugs being fixed, if I can just double check. Yep, so there's no bugs here. Bugs are enabled. If we look on this sim, bugs are disabled here. So there's 2 bugs right now with these sims, mostly related to Cycle of Hatred and Glaives. So right now our tier set is bugged on PTR. For those of you who don't know, I'll pull up the tier set here. So the 2 set says Blade Dance automatically triggers Throw Glaive on your primary target for 100% damage, yada yada yada. So basically what's that's happening is that Blade Dance works fine, but Death Sweep right now only ends up throwing 1 glaive if you have Furious Throws. So it doesn't actually throw the primary glaive. It triggers it and it consumes a charge, but there's a bug where it doesn't have a target, which causes this glaive to be wasted. So you're consuming the charge, you're throwing 1 of the 2 glaives, you're throwing the Furious Throws bonus glaive, so to speak, but you're not throwing the actual glaive, even though you are doing the like using the charge. So that brings the damage low a little bit. On top of that, there also is a bug right now where Cycle of Hatred, if you don't know, was changed to work with Furious Throws. So every throw glaive you do with Furious Throws reduces it by a second. Now, the random glaives from our tier set, so the second half is each slash has a 50% chance to throw a glaive for 35%. That is not supposed to work with Cycle. Reels has said as much. However, there's a bug where it is currently working with Cycle. So the buffs and the bugs kind of balance each other out a bit. You can see it's only like 2,000, 3,000 less DPS than the other build, but it does make Cycle of Hatred actually a lot closer. So we look at a Cycle build here. This actually is a lot closer with the bugs than the other build. So if you see some sims right now showing that, that would be the reason why. It's because of those bugs. I'm doing these sims with bugs fixed, just, you know, out of the assumption that those bugs aren't going to make it to live. But again, sims like this are weird. Things can change, yada, yada, yada. And also, again, this BiS gear setup will probably end up changing. Shout out to TXT who did this, by the way, but, you know, not the final verdict here. But you can see that in our best gear, we're doing roughly 252,000. It's a big jump because we're gaining 39 eye levels and we're having like the rework, and we also have tier that's good. I don't know how this stacks up against other classes. I haven't really checked. We also don't know what the legendary does for those classes. So who knows where we are in tuning, but that's kind of that for that. So I do have a few other sims here. See up here. This next sim I wanted to look at is actually going to be a no mover sim. So ignore this. If we come down, I did want to check out what like our best no mover style of build would be. And this is the one that I've been able to find. Now, again, this might not end up being the best build, and this, just for prosperity's sake, is with bugs disabled. So the cycle bug with throw glaive, not happening. But this is with, you know, no bugs happening. And we can see here that it's actually a really interesting build. I don't know how Fury will end up working on a build like this. You might end up having to play Soul Sigils because you don't have a fire inside, which like is a lot of Fury gain. You do have Blind Fury, I guess, but whatever. So this is kind of the best no mover build. It takes, you know, all the powerful right talents here: Chaotic Disposition, Enemies Necessary, Cycle, and Shatter Destiny. Ends up working out pretty well. Cycle with Throw Glaive and just your normal Chaos Strike spenders and stuff like that. Does a fair, you know, it's a decent amount of damage. You can also do this. This is worse. And then it just, you know, goes down the list here. So you end up with, you know, worse and worse no mover builds. But this is your best no mover, and it actually performs pretty well according to Sims here. So let me just do the top one here. So it's roughly 5.6k behind. So like we'll just say 6,000 DPS behind, which isn't bad in the grand scheme of things. 6,000 DPS out of like 252,000 is like 4-5%. So if you don't like momentum and all these movement talents, then you can definitely just swap over to no mover. Not too big of a deal. Now, I will say again, caveat, this is for single target. I don't think no mover will be anywhere near as viable in AoE. Initiative is incredibly powerful in dungeons. Unknown Chaos, very powerful in dungeons. I can't highlight Inertia here, but Inertia is really good as well, just getting that burst damage out with like Rage Fires and stuff like that. So I do think that no mover is a lot less viable in Mythic Plus, but at like only 5,000 DPS, if you're not comfortable with movement, if you don't want to use your Felrus charges, This is a true no mover build, as opposed to where we were before, where you had to end up using like isolated prey to get your fury because of like fell rushes and things. That's not around anymore. That's gone. So you see here, Immolation Aura, always critical strikes, replaces the fell rush fury generation part. So those of you out there who are like, hey, you know, I don't want to use movement for damage, I want to use it for movement, or, you know, my wrists hurt from doing it, or I get motion sickness, or you know, I'm too old for this stuff, whatever. This is a true no mover build for raid that you can use for pretty equal DPS. It's like 5-6% less. Of course, probably falls further behind the more targets you add, but you know, that's neither here nor there. But again, you know, true no mover. You don't have to move at all here if you don't want to, which is probably a pretty good thing for a lot of people. It probably will be pretty viable. I'll probably do a separate video going over no mover. Oh, I just realized you can't see me. Oh, wait 1 second, y'all. All right, so I realized my camera was cutting off the corner of the talent trees when I zoomed in. So this is the no mover build for all you people wondering. I was blocking off Cactus position and any means necessary. So again, here's that and this. Anyone knows what any means necessary does at this point, gives you more damage. So that's that one. So apologies for that there. And then I also was blocking off the Cycle of Hatred build in an earlier sim. So go over here. We'll just do it to the bugged version. You can see here, that's what this one is. And then, so this is with bugged talents. And then this one here is with non-bugged talents. Sorry about that, my bad. But with that, we can keep moving on. So anyways, I was talking about no mover. Now, yes, no mover is behind, but all in all, 5.6k, not too bad in the grand scheme of things. Again, sorry for my camera blocking the half of the builds, but like, you know, whatever. We do this stuff as is. But I have one more sim to show you all here before we get to a bit of a spicier one. So I wanted to see what would happen if we just straight up took the builds here, Inertia, and just straight swap it for momentum. And the loss is pretty big. Now again, this has no bugs enabled. You see it's a little bit lower than the other one because I just disabled the leg enchant, because for some reason the build didn't actually have it on the legs, so I just removed it because it technically added some weird things to the bottom here. But you can see momentum is roughly 6,000 behind. Now there's really strong like synergy with a fire inside and like all the burst damage you can get here with stuff like Essence Break, stuff like Death Sweep, throwing out Soul Scars, just things like that. So it makes sense that momentum would be behind. So if you want to play momentum, it is at a loss. I think momentum would be better in like a Cycle of Hatred based build. But just, you know, straight 1-for-1 swapping out the two talents generally doesn't work out too well, just in terms of like not changing anything, just doing one swap for the other. But I had some questions about that. That is that. Is worse. You can still play it. 6,000 is like 4 or 5%, roughly the same as no mover. So there you go. With that though, I do want to take a look at a quick AOE sim. Now AOE sims are going to be a bit weird, but we're going to take a look at it anyways. All right, so this is a quick like AOE sim. Bugs are disabled on this one as well, just, you know, to keep things pretty accurate and reliable here. This is a 5 target 40-second sim, so probably like a mid-sized AOE pack. I just wanted to show a little bit of AOE stuff here. Again, I didn't change anything for gear. You'd probably have better results changing stuff. Didn't change trinkets, didn't change enchants, nothing. So this is straight, again, 1-for-1 here. I don't have an optimized gear set for AoE yet. Probably have one eventually. Also didn't even look at Elation Decree. I meant to, I forgot, whatever. But 5 targets, 40 seconds. We do see that Glaive Tempest does end up pulling ahead on the sim. Now that is not a full picture of the story. Right now on PTR, what you're going to end up seeing is most people are going to be swapping between Glaive Tempest, Essence Break, and Fell Barrage for their last point. Everything else will look the exact same. You're going to do all the other 29 talents here. However, you have one free point to swap between Glaive Tempest, Essence Break, and Fell Barrage. Now, when you do that, there's actually pretty different stuff that you end up getting, and I'll probably do a whole video on this. But we can see that Glaive Tempest in this sim pulls ahead, which makes some sense. You know, 40 seconds, you get 2 uses of it, which will push it a bit higher. You know, you're only getting 1 use of Essence Break and 1 use of Fell Barrage in that window, which means that Glaive Tempest proportionately will end up doing better. That's one of those things you have to think about while you're simming. But Glaive Tempest is very strong. Essence Break does very well here as well, though again, you're only getting 1 use out of it instead of the normal, you know, 2 or 3 that you would get. And Fell Barrage also does very well. So all 3 of these right now, despite what this sim says, AOE Sims are weird. Gear set didn't change. Don't think they're fully optimal yet with Fel Barrage either. Unsure on that one, but just showing that these 3 points are very close to each other. Like in the grand scheme of things, the difference from this one to this one is like 10,000 DPS, which when you're looking at almost 1 million damage, that's like it's a bit more than 1% because it's not quite 1 million. But that's not a lot. So realistically, from my experience, from other people's experience, and from what I'm seeing in this simulation, which again, you know, not the whole picture, whatever, you really can probably swap between all 3 of these points. And I'm gonna do a whole video on that, but I do just wanted to like throw that out to show people that Glaive Tempest, Essence Break, and Fel Barrage are all pretty close to each other right now. So hopefully we end up in a world where any one of these is the correct choice, and we end up like swapping dungeon on dungeon, swap week to week. Maybe on a tyrannical week we play this, on a dungeon where you burst well every 1.5, you play Fel Barrage, you know, maybe there's bigger pull, you play Glaive Tempest, that sort of thing. I think that would be a great spot to end up in if we have that choice of swapping that 1 point to each of these 3 things, depending on the dungeon we're in. I think that would be just really, really cool, really good in my opinion, but we'll see how it ends up. But again, I did just want to throw out one of these AOE Sims for prosperity here, just to cover all my bases, so to speak. But I wouldn't take this AOE Sim for that much. AOE Sims are weird. It's just like the nature of things. If I go to 20 targets, then it'll look different, right? But this is 5 targets, 40 seconds, just to, you know, show you guys what a little bit of the look is. So anyways, that is going to be the preliminary video on Sims for Havoc. Now these things probably will change. I don't imagine we get away without getting nerfed at all. Hopefully these builds will stay like accurate for most of this testing cycle. We're getting pretty late in the cycle now. I don't think we'll see any sizable changes, so these things should end up being the case. But again, I will do a full guide video for 10.2. I'll probably do more individual build breakdown videos like I normally do, and I'll do some other stuff. There's some stuff I want to talk about for the talent trees anyways. So little quick simulation video for you guys, show you guys where we're at in terms of Havoc, what the gear we're wanting looks like, what the damage we're doing looks like, what the builds we're going to be playing look like. Just a quick little primer here, so to speak. So if you're new to the video, subscribe, help me push towards 10K. That is my ultimate goal right now. And stick around, like the video, drop a comment, become a channel member if you want to support me, join the Discord, follow me on Twitch, all the cool stuff. Anyways, thanks for watching this. If you're in Canada, happy Canadian Thanksgiving. This is coming out that day. Enjoy the time with your families. If not, hope you guys have a good week, good Monday, and good luck on your vaults tomorrow. So thanks for watching the video. Let me know what you think. Catch you guys next time. Peace. A big thank you to all of my channel members. Thank you, Andrew Keenel, 121, Payne, Andreas Latinakis, Joshua O'Connell, Period, Brad Wisniak, Zuligan, Exclamation, It's Bulk, and Flapjack67. Thank you all so much. It means the world to me. If you want to support myself, get some exclusive videos, get some emotes for comments, get an exclusive section of my Discord, then follow the link down below. Help me out a little bit. It's a great way to support me. But again, thank you all so much for helping keep the channel going and for all the support and everything. And appreciate you all. See you guys next time.